Rabotai, in the Dirsha edition of the Sefer Rav Chaim, they bring down on page 36, it speaks about the importance of not sitting with people that speak Lashon Hara. So the Mikor Chaim says like this: a person needs to be careful at the very least. He has to be very careful not to sit with gatherings like this that speak Lashon Hara. Why? Because above in Shamayim, everybody is written as a group of like evil people. Chas v'shalom. Because this is the way it's said in the will of Rabbi Eliezer Gadol. That he commended Hyrcanus his son. This is his language. Beni, he said, my son, you should not sit with company, with friends that speak degrading about their friends. Because their words go above and they're written in a sefer. Anybody that stands over there while they're speaking Lashon Hara, they are written as a Chaburat Rasha, as a gathering of wicked people. Rabotai, the Rav Chaim brings down over here in the Mikor Chaim in the Dish edition in Ot number 25. He wants to just bring down Rabotai. He wants to say like this. He wants to say, what's the honors that comes to a person that decides to sit with people that speak Lashon Hara? So he says, "Ubegodel ha'onish hamegil yishem bechaburut rasha katav b'shmirat alashon." And the great punishment that's going to come to a person that he sits with a gathering of wicked people that speak Lashon Hara, Rabotai, he brought down in Shmirat alashon she'av shekam be'olam hazeh, Rabotai. This is very important. Even though in this world, she'av shekam be'olam hazeh lo margish et hashchatat hanefesh, you don't feel how it's destroying your neshama. You don't feel it. V'godol havon b'shivoto b'chaburut rashazo shom ispirei Lashon Hara. You don't even feel the great sin by sitting there. You think you're doing nothing wrong. Why? You killed somebody? No. He says, Aval Rabotai, he says, but you should know, however, when a person is going to come to the next world, he's going to find his ledger open. He's going to see in his ledger, an open ledger, all the words, the Lashon Hara that they spoke over there. At the time when he was in this world, he's going to see it in the next world. He's going to have to give an accounting for everything that he heard. He's going to have to be punished greatly for hearing other people speak Lashon Hara. Rabotai, listen carefully to this. How angry is he going to be? How bitter is he going to be with the people that they caused him to be punished? Not because he wanted to get punished, but because all he did was stand there and listen to what they have to say. Therefore, Rabotai, when before you do anything, before you sit down with anybody, a person needs to take in consideration, who are you sitting with? Do these people speak Lashon Hara? What do they say? Which type of people? You don't just go and sit with anybody. And that's what he says, Rabotai, when the Yetzer Hara wants to entice you, this is what one should imagine. He says like this, Ulekach, and therefore, Kishemisito Yisro Hara, when the Yetzer Hara, he entices you, Lehachnis Betoch Chaburat Rasha Kazo, he wants you to enter into an evil companionship like this, where all they do is speak Lashon Hara. Katav b'shmirat alashon, he wrote in the Shmirat alashon, sheyachshov b'nafsho, he said, let him think in his heart, in his soul, Dai li, it's enough to me, b'ma she'emot be'olam ha'elyon be'avunuti. It's enough what's going to come to me from my averas that I have to give an accounting for. Uma li lizbo be'olam ha'elyon, Onish be'avonot zulati. And plus he says, why do I also have to suffer in the next world for punishments that I didn't even commit, just by listening to them? This way you're going to be, Rabotai, you're going to be able to defeat the Yetzer Hara. So we see over here, it's not a small thing, Rabotai. By the way, it's brought down also, I believe in Simon Kuf Ayin, in Halacha Chet, in Halacha Chaf, that a Talmid Chacham is not allowed to sit with anybody. He has to make sure when he sits with anybody, he also has to make sure that there's words of Torah being spoken. Why? Because it's a genai, it's a degrading for a Talmid Chacham to sing among regular people. Because what were the Chacham afraid? That they might learn out from, that the Talmid Chacham might learn out from the people that are unlearned. Rabbatai, who are we speaking about? A Talmud Chacham that sits and learns Torah. He knows what he says. Yeah, he learns day and night. The Chachamim were afraid of what? That he shouldn't sit with ignorant people. Let me ask you a simple question. What about the people that are ignorant, that are never learned? How much more so they have to be careful from sitting with ignorant people? Because they know the right from wrong. Correct? So that's why people shouldn't just sit with anybody that comes their way. They should always try to plan ahead. If you know that that table, for example, speaks Lashon Hara, don't sit there. You know that table speaks, I don't know, who knows what they, nonsense, idle chatter. Don't sit there. You want to try to make your own group. You want to try to speak words of Torah. Again, you have to sometimes small talk here and there, not a problem. But to go out of your way and spend hours upon hours speaking nonsense, that a person shouldn't do. Rabotai, another halach that he brings down over here, he says, Rabotai, you have a very big problem that when a person speaks Lashon Hara, why do people speak Lashon Hara? Because they feel that they're better than other people. That's what the pasuk says, that you are also transgressing a prohibition of, you should guard yourself lest you come and forget Hashem your God. So he says, Rabotai, because this warning comes to for all the people that think they're holy, they think they're on top of the world. Why? Rabotai, the problem is when people speak Lashon Hara, what do? When he's making fun of other people, what does he want to show in return? Who is he? He wants to show that he's a chacham, he's a man amongst men, he's a person. Rabotai, that's what they say, there's two ways to build a building, correct? There's two ways to be better than your neighbor. One way, you're either going to demolish what he has, even though you have a small house, now automatically you're bigger than him. And this is what people do when they speak Lashon Hara. They want to break the other person by speaking bad about them, and in return automatically they're above everybody, which is very bad. However, Rabotai, there's another way to build. Another way to build is how, Rabotai? By building yourself. Yes, he has a house, this build, you build your house even bigger. You don't want to try to compete, but you want to become better and greater. Don't bring other people down and then feel great. You want to become greater. Work on your avodah, work on your midot, work on your character trait. Rabotai, and one of the things that retains a person's chokhmah is shtika. The more a person is silent, the more he's going to be able to retain his learning. The more you talk, the more you come into problems. That's what he says over here. This warning goes for who? For people who are ga'avam. So he says, Ki ilu haya makir et nige'e atzmo, lo haya mal'ig mechavero. Rabotai, if a person would have just known his own faults, you should know, he would have never made fun of his friend. And you should know that over here is going to be midah keneged midah. You'll see, how do you know where a person is holding in the next world? Very simply. If you go ahead now and you speak Lashon Hara about the other person, in the next world, Rabotai, if you judge them unfavorably, that means in the next world, when they're going to put a whole screen in front of you, you're going to say, you see that guy? He came late to davening. You see, he didn't say bracha, he didn't put on tefillin. What do you say? You're going to say straight to Gehenna, right? Because you never judge nobody favorably. You always spoke bad about them. Then Hashem is going to tell you, you know who that person is? That's you. You just signed your own judgment. Where are you going? That's a person has to accustom himself in this world to only speak good, Bezrat Hashem b'neder. So this way in the next world, he's not going to have these problems. Baruch Adonai L'olam. Amen v'amen.